Alright, the highlight video here from Thursday, December 22nd at GreatStockPicks.com chat room. A few calls that I made today to talk about, and some interesting comments to go along with them. If you've seen our recent video about passion and patience, there's some good examples in here. Now, PHH falling off a cliff today, and you know, I love intraday bottom feeding, so there were a couple times along here that I made bottom feeding calls that absolutely triggered and failed pretty quickly. They were all tight stops, usually around 20 cents. But the third call I made in it, 923 was the entry. I'm going to get my drawing tool going here. Sorry for the stuttering around a bit. Okay, 923 was the entry on the third call, which was probably right about there with a low of day stop. Okay, so from 923, this doesn't look, you know, compared to the drop, this doesn't look like a huge move, but it went all the way to 1140. So that's a $2 and whatever it was, 17-cent move, I think, with a stop down here at the low of the day that never got hit. So I don't want to create the impression that I always catch the bottom on the first try. However, and as I told our members in the chat room, in the past, I might have tried one of these intraday bottom feeding plays and have it fail and have a small stop out, and then try it again and stop out and just walk away. But this relates to that passion and patience video I talked about that I made the other day. I knew we had one that had the passion and the ability to have a big bounce. Okay, so to me, in the past, having walked away, and this happened to me on a regular basis, whenever you pout in trading, and it's what I used to do, I'd be like, man, that one just killed me twice, I'm out, right? When you walk away, then later you go over the charts and you say, wow, if I'd have just taken that one more time, it moved $2 in my favor, you know, and then you walk away with a couple 15, 20-cent stop outs, and then you could have had a $2 move. So yeah, you have to, when you have one that's got the passion, not the patience. When you have the patience to wait for one with passion, don't want to walk away from it. And that's something I learned over the years. It's just you know you've got one you've got to stick with, and you know it can pay off. And that's exactly what happened today. I mean, we had a member make over $4,000 today, which is what, 10 lifetime memberships. So, and probably that same guy probably got stopped out on the first couple PHHs, right? The first couple tries. So I'm going to go over some other calls today. Actually, even called some real low price stuff that I don't usually do. ECYT, I think around 328, and ended up making it to 340. That's not something I would typically play, but the daily is so beaten up that it was compelling. You can see the little pop there. Nothing to brag about, though. It won't be on the results page or anything. Didn't move that much. CHK is another example. Now, this is an interesting one I can show you guys. CHK, now in the past, I would have never bought a stock all the way up here after it's run this far. You know, you don't chase breakouts. But because it met other parameters that I teach in the chat room, I was comfortable calling this at 23.33 before it completed this candle, and a stop at 23.20, so 13 cents risk, and it went to 23.60 here. Again, that's not huge. What is it, 27-cent gain on 13 cents risk, so that's certainly not anything to brag about, but because it met the parameters that I teach our members to look for, I was still comfortable making the trade, and made a little bit of money on it. Certainly won't make the highlight page, but still a nice trade. ROVI is another example of one that I called, the first time I called it didn't work, and the second time did. The first call I made was at 24.73. Probably right about there, and stopped out right about there. Okay, and then the second idea I gave to our chat room was 24.79, which was right there again. And the stop, I don't know, somewhere around here, didn't matter because it never looked back. And that's ROVI. So 24.79, even though the first one triggered and stopped out, ROVI went to 25.50. I mean, what is that, 80 cents or so, 70 cents or so. And a nice move, and made up for the one that didn't work. What else do we have? Late in the day, again, not really worthy of a wrap-up video, but I called RIM when it was here. I said if it hits 14, I'm in with a stop at 13.95, I think. That's a nickel risk. And then I took literally 7 cents on it because I looked at the clock and said, hey guys, I'm running out of trading day. and RIM didn't. I was looking for a high of day break after that, but it was later in the day than I thought. So again, not really worthy of the highlight page, but a trade we called nonetheless. Jeff, J-E-F, 1381, somewhere probably right about here, maybe, with a low of day stop. Again, nothing to brag about, but 1381, and it went to 1403, still profitable. And I think that's it for the day. So, you know, like I said, you got to wait for the passionate ones, right? And there's nothing wrong with trying these 2 or 3 times if you have a method to try them. I was projecting the chart live to our chat room members. The first 2 times failed, and I also said whenever you take the first entry on one of these, you know, one of these passionate pushes lower, always start real small. If that fails, you didn't lose very much, and then each subsequent entry has a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more potential to have that crazy bounce you're looking for. So I usually do start really small if that one fails. My next time, after taking the stop out, I'll go bigger, and if that fails, so on, I'll go a little bigger. But I don't average down. I want to be clear about that. I take the stop outs, take it like a man, and then retry it, because as you can see, this bounce was absolutely worth it. Some might say, why didn't we just short it up here? Well, I didn't even see it, you know, till it looked something like this probably, or maybe this. So once it's done that, I'm thinking long, and I'm looking for the bounce. Anyway, and a couple words I want to say. I'm just going to read this real quick from one of our members that he shared it with the rest of the room, and I thought it was pretty cool. I'll try to read this quickly. All right, he wrote to me a lesson, or he wrote in the chat room this morning before the market opened. A lesson learned by me regarding stops. In the past, I've had a trade that went to my stop, but I decided to give it a chance to bounce, so I did not let the stop work. Then it gave one of those long 5s candles against me. I thought about selling, but I told myself, well, if I wasn't in right now, I would probably be buying some here, expecting it to bounce, so why not sell here? Or so why sell here? Then another long candle went against me. Now I'm down huge, and the pain gets so bad that I sold. Eventually it did bounce, but when the pain gets too much, it's hard to make good decisions. That's my favorite part right here. I'm going to read that again. When the pain gets too much, it's hard to make good decisions. If I would have just allowed the stop to work, I could have sat on the sidelines with no pain and continued to monitor for a new entry. Anyway, it was a past rookie mistake that I wanted to share with newer traders. Stops are good. When they are hit, be happy that you stuck to your plan. So again, that's another thing by one of our members that I wish I would have written. That's so well said, because, you know, people stop out and then they start to think stops are stupid. Well, if you want to trade for a living, you better get that thought out of your head. And that's just so well put, that you can think with a clear head and, you know, and no pain, right? And then monitor for a new entry. So, and PHH, perfect example of that. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to babble any further. Really nice day today, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.